Welcome and thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the Women's Broadcast Television Expert Spotlight Show, and I'm your host, Shavon. Wbtvn is the all-women's internet television station with content that's created by women and for women. Today, joining us on the Wbtvn Expert Spotlight is our expert, Lisa Marie Latino. She is the CEO and executive producer of Long Shot Productions, a full-service media production company based in Fairfield, New Jersey. Latino's career has produced numerous commercials, corporate and entertainment programs that have taken her throughout the United States as well as Europe. We're going to find out a little bit more about her, so let's first welcome her to the show. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me so much. Thank you.
Marie, I love that. How cute is that? And I love your background. You look so great. So tell me a little bit about yourself. And I know that you've done a lot in media, and I want to talk about that. But really what I want to do is find out about your background, growing up, what inspired you to do all the things that you're doing now, and how did you get to where you are?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll try to make this as quick as possible.
No, you don't hear the whole story.
Well, I've always wanted to work in media. I mean, literally since I was in first grade. I actually grew up wanting to be a sportscaster, a sideline reporter, talking about the New York Giants. That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. And then as I grew older, I realized I had other passions, and I noticed even when I was in college, the whole landscape of media was changing. Look at the interview we're doing right now. Like, that wasn't going on 15 years ago.
No, not even 10 years ago.
Not even 10 years ago. So, I mean, it is amazing what's gone on and the advances that have taken place. So when I was studying in college and a little bit after college, I revised a little of that. I didn't want to just focus on being a sports personality. I wanted to do all things media, the producing side, even the technical side, the on-camera side, obviously, writing, all of that stuff. So when I graduated from college, I took a job for a local production company here in New Jersey that produces programming for PBS. The name of the company was the Caucus Educational Corporation, and the host of the show and the executive producer was a man by the name of Steve Adubato. Okay. And Steve was very instrumental in forming me and forming my career. It was almost like being in a paid master's program with him.
Oh, wow.
He taught me the whole business side of running a production company, the marketing side. I was a teaching assistant for him. Obviously, I worked on his shows in every facet imaginable. And, it was my first job out of school, and I learned a lot. About 3 years into it, I was just getting antsy. It was my first job out of school. I had all of these ideas. The economy was tanking, so finding another job wasn't really ideal at the time. So I had all these ideas, and I decided to go off on my own and start my own production company and kind of forge my own path. I recognized the boom of YouTube, and I just saw that there were so many opportunities that I could just go out there and create for myself instead of sitting back and waiting for somebody else to hand them to me. Because I feel like you could work as hard as you can, but luck has a lot to do with it too. So I'm all about creating my own luck and doing my own thing, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
So in 2009, I started my production company, Long Shot Productions.
Yes.
And we started the company with the goal of me having a talk show. That's what I wanted to do. So how I built up my portfolio, we would go to red carpet premieres in New York City, go to all these kind of celebrity events, and I would put them on the internet. And, people were loving them, and we got a ton of hits, and that was great. But as people saw the quality of the product, they wanted to hire me to produce stuff for their own brands or companies. So that's where the corporate and commercial side of Long Shot really took off. We have clients in every facet, finance, law, medical, nonprofit. It really runs the gamut, all in the New York, New Jersey metro area.
Right.
But again, I wanted to do a talk show. So, while that was going well, myself and a partner of mine, we developed an online series called Hip New Jersey, and that's Hip New
love that.
Jersey.
I want to stop and just kind of let that sink into everybody. Yeah. I mean, hip New Jersey, and New Jersey is hip anyway.
It is. It's so hip. I know maybe out there and a lot of other places around the country, we get a bad reputation from some of the reality shows that have been out there, but New Jersey's so cool. I mean, we're sandwiched between the biggest in the world is New York City and Philadelphia. That's like a top 10 market. So we're sandwiched between these two booming metropolitan areas. We have a great beach. We have the mountains. And, because the state is so small, you can get to all these places in like 2 hours time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's so much going on. The people are so amazing, friendly, believe it or not. And so Hip NJ, it's giving a spotlight to all the good stuff that's happening here.
Okay. So I did, just for clarity, it's so it's local.
Local.
Jersey. Yep. And so you go to these events and do you interview people and you just talk about the event and promote it, all those good things?
All those good things. And, it's even beyond events. I mean, we're going to the hottest restaurants that are opening. We're going into communities. What's an up and coming community that's booming right now here in the Garden State? Boutiques and, rising stars and prominent celebrities as well. I mean, it's just a big, big, happy, positive place. We cover a lot of products that are being developed here, a lot of businesses, and, a lot of people are leaning on us to help them grow their brand awareness across social media. So it's been really exciting.
Right. So growing up, do you have siblings? Where were you actually born and raised in New Jersey?
Oh, New Jersey, born and raised. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
Question. Of course, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
I grew up in a small town called East Hanover. It's about 40 minutes outside of New York City. I have a younger brother. My father, he's actually a business owner, so I probably got a lot of that entrepreneurship gene from him. And my mom, she actually works for ExxonMobil. So my parents, my brother, we're all hardworking people for sure.
Oh, well, that's great. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So
no, not in my family. Definitely.
Obviously, they set great examples. So tell me, what's your next step? What is it that you plan to do next? I mean, obviously, I'm sitting here saying to myself, this is something that you'd want to take globally.
And let
everybody know about it. Yeah.
Well, I guess on a personal side, the next step, I just launched what my next step is, and it has nothing to do with video or anything, but it does have something to do with media. I just came out with a novel.
Okay.
It's my first novel, and it is called 10 Years Later. So it was just released on October 4th, and already it's been an eye-opening experience. I've met so many cool people already. I've learned so much, and writing is probably one of, if not the favorite thing of mine to do.
Really? Now, did you just develop, just all of a sudden you woke up and say, I want to write?
I've always been a writer. I've always kept a journal, and I've always wanted to write a book. So I got the idea for the book in 2011.
Okay.
I was a new business owner at the time, living at my parents' house. I'm in my studio now, but I started out in my parents' guest room, on like folding chairs and one laptop. But, so it was 2011. I was still, growing the business, and, I was just feeling antsy. My 10-year high school reunion would have been the following year, 2012. Okay. And, I was comparing myself. I wasn't married. I wasn't even really dating at the time, still living at home with this, baby business. And I was on the right path. I felt that, but I felt behind the 8 ball.
Okay.
So I channeled all of that into what turned into 10 Years Later. So 10 Years Later, it's about a girl, lives in New Jersey, Italian, American, and she gets to save the date to her 10-year high school reunion. And she freaks out, like me, because she was nowhere in life where she wanted to be. she had aspirations to be a sports talk radio host, and she was stuck in a producer job that she's had for the past, since college, and she kept getting passed over. Still living at home, no boyfriend in years, and like all her friends seemed to be doing really cool things, and she just felt stuck. So she put pedal to the metal and decided, I'm going to accomplish everything on my checklist leading up to the reunion. So when I walk in that night, I'm going to be a rock star. So you follow her on that journey and you see the lessons that she learned along the way. And, I think the beauty of the book is that, and I think we could all take away from, the best things in life are a lot of the times the things that we already have. The grass really isn't always greener on the other side. And if we just, stopped in this like crazy pursuit of happiness and competition on social media and just like appreciated what we had, better things will grow from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the words that you're using, because I do think that so many times, we're too hard on ourselves, telling ourselves that we haven't done enough. We haven't really accomplished everything that we wanted. But when you really look back, you really think, wow, you really did in a short period of time. I mean, you're talking about media, you're talking about television and radio and all of those things. It's not easy.
Oh.
Not that other jobs are easier, but media is difficult. And I've done a lot of it, did the same thing, wrote a book called The Breakthroughs, bestseller, written 2 other ones. The thing of it is that the other side of that is that it gets you some notoriety, but it's not going to make you rich. And and if you're doing it for those reasons, then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. If you're doing it because you want to get a message out there that's going to touch somebody's heart and maybe help them, and you want a broader audience to be able to do that, that's the right reason.
Yeah. What's crazy? Like you said, radio, TV, all the things that you've done, and likewise, all the things that I've done, the people that I've gotten to work with, the places I've gotten to travel to. But when you tell people you wrote a book, that's like, oh my God, you wrote a book. People go crazy over that. And I wasn't expecting that. Because to me, to be quite honest, it was the easiest job I've ever done. I was in sweatpants. I would rent hotel rooms. I would tell everyone I'm going away on business, even my parents, everyone. And I would hole myself up in a hotel room 4 or 5 days at a time, every few months or so. And I would just write. Right. It was awesome. It was like being on a vacation without being on a vacation.
Yeah.
So, video production, the editing and the time, and people think that's great and fantastic, but people go nuts and they think it's a huge accomplishment when you write a book. I'm like, damn, I wish all my jobs were that easy and you were that happy about my other stuff. So thank you.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is a big thing because it takes such concentration, and you want it to be a story that's compelling, that really has a message. It's your vision. It's something that comes from inside of you. And, putting that out on paper sometimes is really a wake-up call for you, because you get to those questions that now you ask yourself so that you can actually, share them in the right way. And not being afraid of the mistakes that you've made, or looking back and, I should have done something this way or that way. You made those choices at that time. This is where you are. And what did you learn from all of that? What did you take away with it that you don't, repeat it again? And moving forward is what it's all about, because we can't do anything about the past. The future is kind of a mystery. So being in the moment right now and being honest with yourself is the best thing you can do.
Yeah. And writing a book, especially because, it is fiction. It's very romantic comedy. But I put a lot of myself and the situations that I've gone through into the book. So that was kind of scary, because it's letting people in to your inner thoughts. I'll never say what is real versus not. I'll let the readers decide on that. But it's like the scariest feeling. It's not like I wrote a book about like the 1800s. And people read the book and they're like, okay, this is you. And parts of it are. So it's scary, but I learned so much about myself and about the process and what I want in life, what I don't want in life. Some of the things I wrote about then turned around and came true, which is kind of weird too.
Be careful what you wish, right? That old saying, be careful what you wish. Yeah. So how do you manage, having fun and doing some things that your age that people do, and balancing work and pleasure and all of those things together. So what's your recipe for that?
I don't have a recipe. If you have a recipe, let me know, because I certainly don't have one. But I will say this. I mean, I don't have a lot of bad days at work. I mean, I really do. I mean, things get stressful, things get crazy, but like truly bad, like I don't wake up like, oh, I got to go to work, and I think that's good and bad, because I have so much fun doing what I'm doing. Sometimes my personal life does get put by the wayside because I'm living my dreams right now and I'm having a blast doing it. So sometimes like the personal side, like, I don't know, isn't as exciting than what it is that I'm doing now. Right. So sometimes those lines get blurred. Sometimes I'm bringing a lot of work into what I'm doing. If I'm going out to a restaurant with my friends, I'll like bring the camera and be like, hey, while we're here, let's film an interview for the site. And, my friends, they're used to me by now. They know I'm nuts. But
they know you're crazy going to do that. and they dress appropriately for that, Oh, no, really? Are we going to do that?
Exactly.
Oh, my eyelashes on, my makeup is perfect. Of course we're going to do that.
Exactly. But, it's a struggling, and I don't even have kids. Like, obviously I hope to have a family and everything one day. So obviously I'll definitely have to have the recipe down pat a little better than I do now once kids come in the picture. That's for sure.
I don't know about a recipe, but I do think that we do, whether we sit down and we write it out or not, I think that we become successful at things because we have a plan that we follow.
Yeah.
Whether that's waking up in the morning and thinking positive, like you're talking about, and not letting all the other things, cloud our minds. And, I often say you got to talk to yourself when you first wake up, and you got to tell yourself, positive things, because as soon as you turn the TV on or the phone rings or whatever, that may be a different message. So, we got to learn to give those things to ourselves, because not necessarily are other people going to give that to us. And I think that we can be, infectious to other people, and them seeing that, hey, we're living the same life. Mine isn't any better than yours. It's how we treat it and what we do with it. So that makes a big difference too. So once again, now, did you self-produce your book?
Yes. So I self-published through CreateSpace. I was looking for an agent, because I'm biased, I know, but I think the book is good. I think, I would love to have been picked up by a big publisher, and, I think we could have helped each other out a lot. But, it's very hard in this climate to find an agent when you are a relative nobody, especially in the fiction genre. I mean, there's thousands of fiction books published daily. So, through my work with Hip New Jersey and with Longshot, I met so many authors, and they all told me, stop wasting your time reaching out to agents. You have the know-how to run a business. So think of this as another business. You're better off self-publishing and doing your own thing. And you know what? They were right, because, I got to, again, drive my own vehicle. I got to do my own cover design, the proofreading. It's the messaging, and it's the book that I wanted to put out. There's not a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and I'm having a lot of fun, booking publicity and, reaching out to different bloggers and, doing a kind of grassroots effort. That's just been my style and everything that I've done anyway. So might as well do this too. So, and CreateSpace is so great. I mean, I suggest anybody that's looking to self-publish, look into CreateSpace. They're helpful. There's not a lot of money that you need to put into it in terms of like their platform. And, it's Amazon. So it's the #1 outlet in the world, I guess, at this point. So it's all good things.
Yeah. So if you had one word or one sentence to be able to help others that struggle, and somehow you've been able to, because you've got that kind of personality, just nothing's going to, get in your way. You're going to deal with it. You're going to get through it. You're going to break through it. So if you have a word or sentence that would be helpful to, anyone listening, what would that be?
Just keep going. Just keep going. I mean, setbacks are going to happen, and they suck, of course, but just keep going. I mean, if you're truly passionate, that's not really much of like groundbreaking advice in it, because when you're truly passionate about something, even if you have a setback, the passion is going to take over and it's going to keep going. If you have a setback about something that you're lukewarm about, I mean, maybe your answer is right there, that you're not doing what it is that you're meant to be doing. So if you have the drive to keep going when bad things inevitably happen, like, and you're in the right place if you want to keep doing that. So yeah, that would be my advice.
So you've done a lot of things. You've done a lot of media. We talked about that. You've done some radio. Were you a radio host at one point?
Well, it's funny. When I was in college, I was, but to this day, I do radio producing for the New York Giants for their home games. So, you know, that's why the character in my book, Carla, she works in that world because, you know, it's a world that I'm not in obviously every day, but I've been in it since college. So, you know, I have the experience to make that authentic for the readers, and that's why I placed her there. But still in radio, yes. I'll be at the stadium this Sunday.
Okay. So, as far as sports, you're a real sports fan.
Oh, huge, huge. Yes.
Okay. So what do you love so much about sports? Just did you grow up with your parents watching it, or what?
My dad. Yeah, my dad was a big influence. I mean, I'm not athletic at all, so it has nothing to do with that. I don't know. It's just the excitement of it, you know? I mean, I just get so caught up in the excitement, like, you know, girls, we love drama. And with a lot of times, sports has the best drama you could ask for.
Right.
As I got older, I appreciated, you know, some of the hot athletes. I'll admit that. That gave it another dimension. But even beyond that, I mean, just, you know, baseball and football specifically, those are my favorites. I mean, there's nothing better than an exciting matchup. And, you know, that's a passion of mine that I've had, you know, since I was little, and I'll have for the rest of my life.
So what's your favorite teams then?
New York Giants and New York Yankees. Yeah, those are the two. But I'm very happy for the Chicago Cubs.
Oh my God, are you kidding? Yeah,
like
that game, 108 years it has been. And now we have it happening in our time life. So, which is how good is that?
I know. I'm so
great
happy.
Game. I mean, it was just a great game to watch too.
So happy for them. Yes.
So yeah, well, I'm happy too because I moved from Chicago, where I raised all of my kids, to LA, and yeah, it was a great game. So, where can people get in touch with you, or how can they reach you?
Okay, well, I have a website that kind of links everything that I have going on. Very easy, LisaMarieLatino.com. If you're interested in checking out specifically what I have going on, you could check out HIP New Jersey if you're ever coming into the New Jersey metro area. That's HIP, H-I-P, New Jersey, all spelled out.com. My production company is longshotproductions.tv. But yeah, I mean, I'm on social media, I'm on Plugged In all the time. So feel free to tweet at me, Facebook me, and I'd love to meet you. Yeah,
well, that's fun. You know, it's funny because on a production company, really, you're there for hire too. So yeah, and so I'm just getting that out there. If anybody's interested in, you know, doing any productions and need a great team to help you with that, then here it is, right? Right in front of you.
You know, and I have a great team of, you know, crew members too that are really bringing the video production that we do up a lot of notches. Yeah. You know, we're using 4K cameras now, and, you know, updating a lot of things. So, you know, again, it's such an exciting time. And I feel between what you're doing, what we're doing, what a lot of people, we're only scratching the surface with this whole video internet thing. So it's a very, very exciting time to be in our business, I feel.
Yeah, I do too, Lisa Marie. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your great story and all the enthusiasm that you have. I certainly wish you greatness in everything that you do. And I want to thank the audience today for, you know, tuning in to listen to the Wbtvn Spotlight show. And if you're interested in, and you're an expert and you want to have an interview, then go on to wbtvn.tv. There's a form there, fill it out, and we'll be in touch with you. So until the next time, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I hope to talk with you soon.
I hope so too. Bye now.
Bye.